Hey, Aaron.
Hey.
How you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. It's good to see you
You
again.
too.
How's things going?
Not bad.
Okay.
Here because I have to be.
Just here because you have to be? Yeah. This is a disclaimer. This is a mock counseling session. None of the events are true. This is for class purposes only. So, Aaron, tell me a little bit about what's going on with you.
Do you want the whole story or do you want the reason I'm actually sitting here?
Well, I know this is a mandatory counseling for you because of some anger issues you're having. But since we last met, kind of what's been going on with you? Do you feel like things are getting better? What's going on?
I feel like things are getting better. I've been moved to, a different section. So, the stinger's kind of been removed. So, there's not the prevalent problems that were there before, but it doesn't erase the fact that, what happened happened. So here I sit until you say I'm better.
And how do you feel about that, the mandatory counseling?
I don't like it because I feel like I was justified in what I did, what I said. Of course I got angry, but I understand where they're coming from too. Is they have their own safety protocols that they have to follow. So I understand. It's just an irritation, I guess, because when you take a step back and you look at the whole person concept and you look at the bigger picture, all things combined, I feel like maybe he should have been reprimanded instead of me. But what I said, I guess, does warrant anger management process.
Okay. So fill me in a little bit. I know we went over it some, but let's go a little bit deeper this time and just kind of fill me in on some of the details.
So, working down in the shipyards at Marine Group Boat Works, Chula Vista, California, the pipe supervisor is Robert Chandler, and our direct foreman his name is David. Well, we got tasked with doing a specific job, and then whenever that job gets finished, then we get tasked to do something else. So, anyways, the pipe supervisor, he just kind of pops up out of nowhere, and he says, to the guys, no matter what it is that they're doing, that they're not doing it right. Some way, shape, or form. He has something negative to say to everyone. It's always demeaning. It's never positive. And I always believed in, punish in private and praise in public sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
As, that's what a good leader should do. And that's not the situation. And it wore on me, and it wore on me, and it wore on me. Well, then one day, I was working all the way at the front. We were doing a $20 million retrofit on a ship called the San Francisco. It's a ferry boat. And I was all the way at the front, welding some stainless piping. And he came up there, and there's nothing I had done was right. He was saying I was, costing him $200,000, $300,000 just, from, the way the pipe spoolers were getting set in place. And it wasn't true. He was just trying to rattle my cage. So, basically I just told him, if you say one more effing thing to me before lunch, I'm going to throw you through that effing window. And then I didn't see him till after lunch. So, and then next thing I knew, I was getting called into the office and told that I needed some anger management classes.
Okay. And do you feel like that's justified? Do you feel like you need some anger management?
Sure. I get angry. We're already working in a bad environment. It's hot. It's dirty. It's uncomfortable. Everybody's irritated anyways. We're working 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. The last thing you need is somebody just, jabbing you every chance they get. Hostility's already running high.
Mm-hmm.
There's no point in, throwing gasoline on the fire.
So how do you feel about being here? You seem still a little angry.
I'm angry. I'm not angry. I feel like it isn't fair. I feel like I'm being punished for something that wasn't necessarily my fault. I feel like my actions weren't actions of violence. They were simply just to, hey, I want this problem to go away. I want for you to leave me alone and let me to do my job. And I've never turned in bad work, ever. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to this time either. So I don't need you riding me in a negative fashion. Let me do my job. You go do your job and sit at your desk and leave me alone.
Okay.
you know, and really that's, if I had, had my druthers, it would be just that, and so I feel like what I said to him got his attention enough to the point that he left me alone and I was able to complete my task,
Okay.
you know.
Okay. So if I asked you on a scale of 0 to 100, as far as 0 being no anger at all, or stress or anxiety about all this situation, to 100 being it couldn't get, absolutely could not get any worse, where would you be on that scale? It's called a SUD scale.
So where is my anger on that
Where do
scale?
you feel like you're at?
Like right now?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just with the situation, probably 70, 75. I mean, I don't know, 3/4 of the way. I mean, it fluctuates. If I think about it, I get fired up about it. I mean, as you can tell, I probably am a little irritated right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not thinking about it, it kind of wears away. But just the whole situation kind of has me burnt up.
So where were you the day that it happened?
Oh, I was maxed out. I was maxed all the way out. I mean,
Heart attack level almost.
if the dude would have said one more thing to me, I was throwing him out that window.
Okay.
And I meant it. You can only be pushed in a corner for so long before you have to do something about it. That's kind of where I was.
Tell me, can you remember any particular thoughts that were going through your head besides I'm fixing to throw you through that window?
Well, yeah. I mean, there was the one that had the glass on it. I didn't want to have to replace the glass, so I was going to throw him through the one that didn't have the glass yet. That was.
Well, that's very practical.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't want him to take the money out of my check. So I mean, it was just that. I mean, it was kind of a out of left field. I hadn't thought that I was going to say something like that or anything. I just was trying to just go through my day, and he popped up and just.
Was it kind of impulsive?
It was. It was spur of the moment, impulsive. I felt good about it because he left me alone, and it was probably the best half day I'd had because this happened pretty early in the day. I didn't have to deal with the guy. All my materials was there. Got the work done. Got a kudos for the job that I did. And didn't have to deal with this dingo.
Okay. So how do you feel that about that reaction from yourself?
I'm not proud of it. Nobody wants to threaten somebody, but I mean, sure, I could have handled it another way. I feel like, but I also feel like I've tried several times to handle it another way. I tried talking to the guy. And then he starts making like feminine type jokes, like, "Oh, you're being a girl, you're being a woman, you're being a wuss," that sorts of thing. So I tried.
Very
Yeah. So I mean, no offense to being a woman. Women do great work. That's not what
I didn't even take that.
But when a man gets called a woman, that's it's an offense.
Right,
so,
right.
Just so
I don't want to be called a man.
I understand, and you shouldn't. You shouldn't. So, I mean, I felt like I'd taken other approaches to talk to the guy, and he's really not an approachable person without demeaning you some more.
Mm-hmm.
So it was one of those things where I tried my best to stay away from him. And that's just one incident. There was, I'm a welder by trade,
Mm-hmm.
And,
But you're an ex-Marine, too.
I am. Former Marine. We're going to let it slide.
I'm sorry.
That's
right. You're never an ex-Marine.
Right.
Semper Fi. I apologize.
But there were so many other things. Like, he wanted me to be a pipe fitter.
Mm-hmm.
And, pipe fitters weld, welders pipe fit. I get it. But when I hired on there, I hired on as a welder. Mm-hmm. Well, he's the pipe supervisor. He's not the welding boss. So he didn't want me doing any welding unless it was just absolutely necessary. So, me being a welder, I like to keep my hand busy. So, I'd find myself at the weld shop doing other stuff. I'd find myself working for other foremen. And I would request the stuff, and it would just burn him up. So I felt like maybe he kind of targeted me a little bit because I wasn't doing what it was he wanted me to do, which wasn't actually the scope that I was hired for anyways. It was just I got put on a pipe crew. So it was just every time he found out I was welding, he's like, "Oh, that's a terrible weld. That's a terrible weld." And I'm certified in every process. So to tell a guy that what he does for a living, he's not doing it very good, I mean, that's just it's a slap in the face. So it was just always something with this guy.
Okay. You and I have been through the assessment. We did the informed consent, and you kind of know what's going on, and we've agreed to a plan of treatment. And so right now we're going to kind of implement that. I have been recording this session because you gave me permission to be able to do that. And so what we're going to do is some therapy to kind of help desensitize you from some of this. And you and I have talked about this therapy. And so, but right now, due to the fact that you are a little bit kind of anxious and things like that, I would like, if you're comfortable with it, for you to do a relaxation technique. Do you feel comfortable doing? We kind of went over the diaphragmic, yes, breathing techniques. And so, are you okay with doing that right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If you want to, I'll scoot back just a little bit, kind of recline your chair. Okay, you remember where to hold your thumbs and okay, so sit back and just close your eyes. And what I want you to do is just relax and just make sure that you're breathing through the belly breathing, not the chest breathing, in through your nose and out through your mouth. Very slow and steady. I'll let you breathe for just a little bit. And just try to relax your body right now and your mind. Go to a good place, someplace you'd like to be, like the beach, mountains. While Aaron is doing his diaphragmatic breathing, I did want to explain that he is a former Marine. He has been diagnosed with PTSD. He fought frontline the war in Iran. And he's my nephew, and I'm very proud of him. I love it. So that's why I almost patted his leg when I first came in and caught myself.
Uh-huh.
Okay, Aaron, you feel a little bit more relaxed.
I'm calmer.
You're calmer.
More calmer.
You feel a little bit better.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
All right. Well, so just kind of sit there and kind of gather your thoughts.
Alrighty.
And so, what we want to discuss next is maybe some goals, what you would like to get out of counseling. Um, do you kind of, let me ask you this, do you kind of resent being here, or are you okay with that? Is there some things that you would like to see happen for yourself through this counseling, even though it is mandatory?
Well, you have to. I say you have to. You don't have to do anything, but I try. Whenever I get put into a situation, I try to, take the positive out of it, or if I can find a good in a situation that I found myself in. Um, it always seems to help. So it's no surprise that I don't necessarily want to do this counseling, but if I am going to have to be here, sure, I'd like to, accomplish some things. I'd like to be able to better manage my anger, maybe learn to better deal with superiors and subordinates um, in different situations. You know, stemming back from the time in the military, I worked with people from all different walks of life, so you have to learn different traits in different ways, different leadership styles. I know you have a dictatorship and you have a persuasive type leadership, and you shouldn't be more to one side. You should be, right in the middle and be able to float back and forth. I get that, but sometimes, maybe I haven't. Sometimes you deal with situations that maybe you aren't familiar, um, and as you move along in the military, you're more and more in charge of more and more people. So what you say kind of goes. Like, this is what we're going to do, and there's never any backlash from it. But typically, those people that are in charge, what they have, that they've set forth that they're going to do, and the way that they're going to do it, has the guys that they're in charge of's best interest in mind. You know, working in the civilian industry, you don't necessarily have that. You have a lot of people that want to do as little as possible and earn maximum pay.
Absolutely.
And then you have people that, you know, they shouldn't be in any leadership type position. You know, this boss of mine, you know, I asked him, I was like, you know, what have you ever done positive for anybody? You know, how have you ever made a good difference in somebody's life? The only thing you ever did was 20 years in prison. Does that make you a better man to me and that you can talk to me however you want to, you know? So, I mean,
he might have been trying to prove a point.
maybe it was, I mean, you know, I don't know. You know, now I don't have to deal with the guy, because they deemed it serious enough that they'll move me somewhere else, you know? And everything's going great on my new crew. So, you know, I guess this is all for the better, but, while I'm here, if you can maybe teach me some ways, to deal with people that I'm not familiar, better ways to manage stressful situations, maybe find some ways to help me calm my temper when I see it starting to rise.
Have you always been impulsive?
Yes, ma'am. I feel like I have.
Were you ever diagnosed with ADD or?
ADHD, but
Because I have ADHD and I have a very impulsive personality. And as I've gotten older, I don't have the hyperactivity so much anymore, but I definitely have. I still struggle with ADD and trying to focus and, you know, keep on task even at my age. So I didn't know if you had. I honestly didn't know if you had or not.
yeah, they diagnosed me with ADHD. You can't take medication for it while you're in the military, but if you have ADHD and you're in the military, that's a good thing because you're you know, hyper vigilant and, you know, doing 5 Iraqi campaigns. You know, that's a good thing. You know, maybe not so much in the civilian world, but noticing everything when you're over there is a benefit. You know.
And you expressed to me that you're still pretty hyper vigilant about things.
Oh, absolutely.
Still from the PTSD. Have you ever heard of exposure? We talked about the exposure therapy, but have you ever heard of the virtual reality exposure therapy, where you actually wear the virtual reality?
I saw something about it.
It's pretty cool. So, okay, I think what I would like to do then, we're pretty well at the end of the session. Yeah, we've got plenty of time. I just wanted to get 15 minutes in there, so we're good. That's all I had to do.
All right.
It wasn't as bad as you thought, was it?
I just had to talk about a ding dong.
Kind of maybe gave you a little bit of you know,
closure.
Maybe. Thank you. I really, really appreciate you doing that for me.
One of these days.